customary, we like to open up with the Pledge of Allegiance. This morning, our master at Mike Strunk has offered to do that for us, so if you please stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Go ahead and call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda will be the approval of the minutes from our previous meeting. You've all received a copy of those. Would there be any changes or recommendations, or I'll take a motion to approve? Motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
None.
Any opposed? Next item then is not on the agenda, but I do need to make from our July 24th court meeting, we have an amendment to make to those minutes. On the last item there, it says Brenda Bender. We need to change that to Bridget Bender, if you would, please. Need a motion to accept that change. Need a motion? Second. And a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, next item on the agenda will be our old business. We discussed last time a contract that was presented to us by Hinkle Contracting, and our county attorney has done a little bit of research and on that. Do you have something you'd like to speak to that, Martin?
Yeah, as everybody knows, I had some concerns about the contract that was presented and the form it was presented. It had some language in it that I didn't think protected the court. And I spoke with the representatives from Hinkle, and they said this arose as a result of one county who hadn't paid them for a job they'd done. So for some reason they decided that they would get a contract from each county. And I thought it was too broad because the way this court functions, and I think any fiscal court functions, is you approve a work order for each specific job. So I wasn't comfortable with a general contract for an annual general contract, and that's basically what we presented was a contract for fiscal year 2018 and 19 without any specific projects and et cetera. So I just took the contract and modified it, and if the court approves this specific contract and if Hinkle approves it, it would be one that would be attached to each. It would go along in conjunction with each work order. So every time there's a work order, this contract would be, every time there's a work order, this contract would also be executed along with that work order, because the work order is approved by the court, and it's a contract for each project, and I changed the name of it from construction contract to a project contract. It will refer to the work order or the project name on each job. The other contract had some language in there for indemnification, which we don't, this court doesn't indemnify anyone. We changed some dates as far as change orders. That's been, I think, the consistent way that y'all have done business in the past with Hinkle. From, I think they had 30 days, and it's always been 60 in the past. So I'm comfortable with this particular contract. But again, it's a contract that's not an annual contract. It's a contract that will have to be executed and approved for each individual project and work order.
So I guess we need to take this back to Hinkle and see if
Yeah, and I think I sent it to Kevin Houston. If not, I will do that.
Kevin wanted to be here today. He stopped in earlier, and he wanted to be here, but he had a conference call at the exact same time as court meeting, so.
I didn't hear back from him to know if he got this. I'll resend it to him again.
So In my opinion, our work orders were sufficient to be a contract.
Well, and that's,
Sounds
he and I
like extra
met,
work.
yeah, he and I met, and we discussed that, and, you know, I mean, in my mind, once the court approves a work order, then you've obligated yourself to pay for that project. And this contract doesn't add any more obligation to that. It does clarify, you know, some specifics of each particular project. But that's really all it does. I mean, it doesn't help. If you default on payment, this contract doesn't mean any more than your work order did. So that was what was confusing to me when he presented it last time, is, you know, why is that obligate this court any more than just the work order and the vote to approve that work order in your road list. So, but it's up to you guys. I mean, if you want to, I'm comfortable with the version I've prepared here. If you all are, or if you want to hold firm and say, look, you know, we give you a work order, we approve it through the court, that obligates us to pay you for it.
If you're all right with this work order or this contract, I'm all right to
I'm fine
take it
with
in. I
So
mean,
I'll just take this back to Hinkle this week, and if they accept the changes that Martin's proposed, then we'll bring it to vote next time.
Fine.
Be all right?
Yeah. I think in the interim, they've been doing the projects anyway, based on the work orders, so.
But now they're not going to, though, are they? They're not going to do any more work until we get this approved.
Well, how about, would y'all give me permission then to approach them, and if they're acceptable with it, I'll go ahead and sign it, if you give me that permission to do that. Need a motion for that?
Motion to let the judge sign this if they're all right with it.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all. Thank you, Martin, for your help there.
Courthouse for all this paperwork.
Brings us to our new business then. First item on new business, Charlotte Keeney is with us today to propose the county or the library tax rates for the year.
Yes, good morning. Thanks for allowing me to come. The tax rate is, the library approved to do the compensating rate, which is 6.6, and that's the same as it was last year for the real property. Of course, motor vehicle stays the same every year.
And there were some fluctuations on personal property.
There were, even though it was the compensating rate.
It is the compensating rate, but there were some
fluctuate
fluctuations.
from year to year.
And I know there's always an issue with, I think, with the public about the court approving these rates, and you're not, this is a special purpose governmental entity. They're required by law to come to fiscal court and say, here are the rates that we are imposing, and the court is obligated to acknowledge, let the minutes acknowledge that they have been here and presented their tax rates. And that's all that this court's doing as far as approving anything or acknowledging anything. You're just acknowledging that they have fulfilled their legal obligation.
Everything else going
So-
good with the library?
It is. I have also passed out our annual report. I wanted to touch on a couple of things on that. Of course, we participate in the summer feeding program, which is done through the Pulaski County school system, and we fed a little over 13,000 kids. We do that at the main and all 4 of our branches, and we also go to some neighborhoods with the bookmobile. So we fed a little over 13,000.
Is that part of Project 5810 at all?
No,
Or is it
that's
separate?
different from that. We also participate in that. So on Fridays, when our bookmobile goes out to these three places, they also take the 5810 bags and pass those out so the kids will have something over the weekend. And we also keep those bags at the library all the time. Another thing we've started doing, we've done this a couple of years, are passports, and we kind of didn't know whether we wanted to do them or not because, you know, they're federal papers and there's a lot of things that you have to do. But we did 396 last year, and we also get to keep a portion of those funds. It was $25 when we first started, now it's went up to $35. So we collected $10,752 last year from passports. So if you need your passport renewed or you need a new one, come see us. We had 47,000 people come in and use our computers, our public terminals. Does anybody have any questions?
No. We thank you for,
Passport good for 10 years?
10, I think. Yeah, I'm believing it's 10. I'm not a passport agent, so. I have several staff members that are. And you can come from like 9 to 5, any day. Sometimes you can come later. You don't have to make an appointment. You just come. So it's pretty easy.
all right. Thank you, Charlotte, for.
Okay, thanks.
Next item then on new business, we've got a representative from Wellspring Counseling. Would you like to approach the court, please?
Thank you, Judge. Members of Fiscal Court for giving us the opportunity to be here and talk to you. If you don't know anything about us as a company, Wellspring, we provide group and individual therapy services, as well as targeted case management, perform behavioral assessments, substance abuse assessments, that type of thing. Some of the populations we serve are clients who are enrolled in drug court, probation, parole, DCBS referrals, as well as the layperson. So we serve a very diverse population. And the reason we're here today is to ask for consideration from Fiscal Court for the lease of space within the courthouse. This space would allow us to better meet the needs of some of our clients. With it being centrally located and we were participating in drug court, the location, it would allow us to meet their needs.
Have any questions you want to ask of Mr. Whitaker?
Do you know how much space you need?
I'm sorry.
Space, how much space, square footage?
The space we looked at with Mr. Price was, I believe, right over here adjacent to the fiscal courtroom. It was like 3 rooms that were connected.
They were needing, because of the fire, I guess, fire code, X amount of space, and we looked at 3 different options. And I think it's a great opportunity for a court to help with some of these addictions and problems that our community faces, to be able to offer affordable space. And in doing that, that allows entities to have more monies to provide resources and services to families and individuals that deal with drug addiction, similar to the space that we allowed, I think, Hope, just the other day.
Arms of Hope.
Arms of Hope. I think it's a great opportunity, because I hear from time to time, what are we doing to help with this epidemic? And I'm honored that you all are given opportunity to allow the public and this service to be provided in our courthouse.
My
Y'all are
concern,
good people.
of course, my job's always to point out the potential harms, I guess, or the potential negative. My concern is, I think the Hope thing y'all did was a nonprofit. You're a for-profit
Yes, sir.
company. There are lots of for-profit counseling organizations that have popped up in our community. I think everybody's going after the same market for the most part. Everybody's opening their doors for counseling for drug addiction, trying to get the court business, and it's needed, obviously. I mean, there's no question about that. But I think what this court has to consider is, do you want to lease space to a for-profit organization to the exclusion of all the other for-profit organizations out there that are doing the same thing? They're trying to do the same thing. So, again, that's my job, is to point all those kinds of things out. end of the day, it's your all's decision.
But we could always do this on a short-term basis and just see what kind of response we get from others. And if we can see somebody's crying foul that the court's showing favoritism, we could, it could be a short enough term that we could walk back away.
They've come to us first, and, I mean, it's almost one of those things, and
We would absolutely be agreeable to sign lease documents, compensate fiscal court for the space, and obviously we carry professional liability insurance as well as all the other types of documentation that we're required to have by the state to alleviate as far as the liability concerns towards fiscal court. We would be responsible for the goings-on within our lease space, and we would assume full responsibility for that.
I guess my main thing is, we do have problems, big problems with drugs here in this area. Not only this area, but it's everywhere. And anybody who's trying to do their part to address this problem, I want to be a supporter of. That's where I'm at personally. But like Martin said, there's probably 8 or 10 of you in the area doing something similar.
Times 5.
Times 5, well, okay, so that'd be 40 or
I mean,
40 or 50.
there's a lot of companies that are out here, and I think Craig would acknowledge that. There are a lot of companies out here, a lot of businesses that are doing counseling, and no comment on my part about it not being needed. It certainly is. It's just, does this court want to pick one of those and say, we're going to lease space to you? And that's not my call, it's your all's.
Would you all like to have time to,
Yeah, I think we should put this off for a couple of weeks and let us have time to talk about it and see what's going on. I mean, what do y'all think?
I know these folks, and they're
Oh, I do
they're
too.
great.
Yeah.
They're great people, and this is a
Yeah,
this is
nothing
a
against
great
them.
company, and it's no comment on their quality of services that they offer. They offer outstanding services, no question about that.
how about, we just put this to the next meeting and let you all have time to, if you need to contact the company or other companies, and give you some time to do your homework and before you make that decision. Fair enough.
Fine with me. Does that go with everybody else?
Y'all have any questions of them while they're here today?
Is there services that's free of charge to do this?
I'm sorry.
Is there any company that's doing this that's free of charge?
I can't comment to whether there's any company that does it free of charge. We offer our service on a fee-based scale. Typically, it's insurance co-pays and that type of, and that gets into a real complicated thing as far as what types of insurances we pretty much cover or accept all forms of insurance. I don't know if there's a company that's providing the service free of charge or not.
I don't know.
Either, do you know?
No, it's insurance-based.
It's private pay or insurance or what? Meta, which one? Medicaid, Medicare, Meta, something?
I'm sorry, I can't.
Medicaid, Medicare.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we have anybody else that's interested in that space right now, or?
No one has approached me with that, no. But I expect we may, after airing this public, we may get some, so that's what you're gonna have to.
And that's the problem. I mean, I try to protect you all from that kind of thing, where everybody else comes in and says, well, if we'd have known about that, we would have done it. And probably, if you want to really get down to the brass tacks of it, probably the best way to do it would be to advertise the space. If you're gonna offer it to the, public to for-profit businesses, then you advertise. If you're just wanting to rent the space, if it's about generating money for the space, then advertise it for rent. If it's about a specific purpose that you want the space used for, like this, then advertise it for that purpose. I mean, technically, that's probably the correct way to go about it. And the only reason I brought up what I brought up is I hate to see the court get criticized for renting space to a for-profit, non-governmental entity.
At this point, we could deal with it on a first come, first served basis. If we wait 2 weeks and open it up,
Well, I'm not saying you have to open it up either. I'm just saying technically that'd probably be,
deal with 3 or 4 different
He just,
companies.
yeah, he just.
Bigger can of worms then.
How we gonna decide?
Yeah. Whenever the group Hope came to us, and essentially they're servicing the same families. You know, one is servicing the families and the others are serving the clients. And you know, it's about people coming to their courthouse and finding as many services as they can, and knowing that you are helping any way that you can. You know,
we work with Wellspring, our office does, on this very issue. We also work with the Hope Group that use lease space too, so I can vouch for their integrity and their effectiveness. That's not even an issue.
Okay, well,
It's up to you guys. I mean, if y'all want to do it on a first come, first served basis, I mean, it'd be best to do it now. If not,
Well, that don't matter to me.
sorry, Ross.
I think you probably as well off go ahead and do it.
If we plan on letting them use it, that'd be the best thing to do.
Right.
What about the lease agreement? I mean, how much would they pay and stuff is that?
I think $350 a month, and they provide their own phone services, fax.
Says 300.
It's whatever, yeah, it's.
Limit a time on it, or set a length of time on it, or?
We can set it up to 6 months and see how it is at 6 months. And
have you looked into what kind of changes you're gonna have to make to the space?
Really, the only thing as far as structurally, we would like a door on that. There's a main room, and then there's an open room through an open doorway to the right, and then there's a door, and then goes into it. And we would like to have a door on that open doorway, just so we could provide therapy. We could have individual therapy in both rooms that's going on at the same time. That's really the only thing. Everything else, Mr. Price and I spoke about the internet, and you know, we have voice over IP telephone services, so that's not an issue. We'd pay for internet service to the space and hook up our phone system and so on and so forth.
So would we be installing the door then? Is that,
no, they actually said they would if we gave them, okay.
wanna give it a try for 6 months or a year? What are your thoughts?
I'll make motion to effect.
For how long?
6 months.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second to offer this space for 6 months at a time at the rate of $300 a month, and then you all have the other expenses.
Thank you, Judge.
Do we have any further discussion? All in favor?
Uh,
Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. All right. Next item, then, will be our department reports. I think I'm not looking over anything here. Department reports will be animal shelter. I think Adam's got some good news for us, right?
Good morning. Back in June, we applied for the Cattlemen's Association grant, and we got a response back last week in the form of a $500 check. With that being said, I need to ask the court to match that. That was kind of in the grant agreement. This will be put towards, we're going to get a new scanner for the back. My idea on that was hopefully when the dogs or the animals come in, we can scan the animals as soon as they come off the truck. And hopefully if they are chipped or microchipped, we can get them back to their owners faster. That way they're not taking up space in the shelter. And our medical supplies, medical tools are 9 years past date. So that's where most of this money is going to go to.
That's good. Congratulations. We'll get a picture with that check in the
Yes,
court
sir.
here?
Yeah.
Let's do that. We like those grants, don't we?
Do we need to make a motion to
Yes.
match that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. I just wanted to get a check. So we need,
That's my job.
we will need a motion from the court to match the grant we've got here.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Also, Judge, might I put in, we have decaled our animal control truck, and so I would like you all to stay afterwards and go out and have a picture with the new animal control truck and its decals, and along with the check from the cattlemen's. And, you know, I really want the community to understand, you know, the job that you all do in providing services not for our community roads, but also for the welfare of our animals. And I don't think that you all are appreciated enough in that effort. And so if you would, afterwards, go and we'll have a picture taken.
Have y'all seen the truck yet? Y'all seen it? Looks
Some pictures of it.
pretty sharp. What's the little catchphrase? Spay, don't litter?
Yeah.
Is that what we got on the side?
Well, and to brag, you know, to go along with what Dan said, to brag on the court and to brag on Adam. I know when most of you guys took office, we probably had one of the worst animal shelters in the state.
Awful.
And now I'd put ours up against anyone in the state.
Thank you.
Good job. Y'all want to get a picture here getting this check?
You want to wait till the...
Or do you want to do it outside with the truck?
Yeah.
All right.
You're just wanting your picture taken today, obviously.
I'm afraid that check's going to get away, Joan.
Should we let Joan hold it?
Yeah, let Joan hold the check.
Yeah, I mean, my goodness. I'll let you look at the check.
All right.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thanks, Adam. Next item then will be 911. You got something for us, Aaron?
Our Lincoln CIC computers there at 911, the printer's on, one of them it's not printing correctly, so we're having to look for other options. We done lease a couple printers from this company that we have upstairs, and also a big one downstairs that our other computers print to. And I got a quote from them, and really the quote they gave me, I'll get new printers and the ink every month, and at the worst case scenario, I'll break even with what I spend now on ink for the printers alone, on those 5 printers. So I just need permission from the court, for the judge to sign this agreement to purchase the printers or release the printers.
I have one question on this maintenance. It says it will include 2,500 black and white copies per month. Is that per machine?
Per machine.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
all I need to know.
I
Thank
told
you
her I
very
need
much.
Need a high yield on that because we print a lot on
Definitely,
those.
yes.
Motion.
Second.
Motion to second to allow me to execute this lease agreement. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, Aaron. Next item then will be solid waste. Danny, who, by the way, will be presenting tomorrow. Are there 3 presentations you'll be speaking at the solid waste
State workshop.
state workshop?
I don't think they'd kick you out if you show up over there at Jamestown to listen to me speak, but
He'll be presenting, and that's brag on Danny there, because he's really leading the way in recycling, and here in the state, and they always, they appreciate him so much that they let him teach the rest of the state on how to do what he's doing. So we're proud of you, Danny, and what you're doing in Misty.
Thank you. We're just going to let them know how we recycle in Pulaski County and how successful it's been, and maybe pass something along to one of these other counties that they can use. So hopefully the presentation will be insightful for those people. So appreciate that, Judge. This morning I have brought 8 names for part-time employment. The 109 board recommends. I've had 6 kids go to school this fall, so got to replace those. Starting August 29th, tomorrow, pending a physical, names are Jordan Bales, Kaylin Starry, Matthew White, Christopher Stevens, Lucas Birchfield, Pamela Rutherford, Blake Turner, and Candace Messenger. And this will all be taken care of by the 109 board to pay these employees.
Donated that.
I will, Judge.
Motion.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
No.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Misty for our ordinance issues.
I just have 2 properties that I need to present for cleanup by the county. First one is 425 Cumberland Drive, and that's a burnt trailer that's fallen in. Just need to get that one cleaned up and the property mowed.
Motion to do that?
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
No.
Any opposed?
All right, the second one is 32 North Deerfield Court, and it's just a property that needs to be mowed.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
No.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, Misty. Next item then will be our road department. Jordan, you have a few things for us here.
First thing being approval of our road work request.
Motion. Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
Next be the request for 3,000 ton of various rock for the month of September.
Motion. Second.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
No.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And lastly, the 400 ton of blacktop for patching in the county for the month of September.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
No.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. I beat you on that motion. Brings us into our treasurer. Joan, you've got a couple things here to discuss.
I do. The first thing I have for your consideration are the tax rates, the county tax rates for all countywide. I've got for your, not consideration, but just for your information, all the ones except school districts. But the county property tax rates that would need to be approved are the real property, personal property. And the compensating rate has not changed from last year at all. It's not gone up. So it has not changed, and of course, then you have the option of a 4% increase.
When is the deadline for these?
The deadline has to be, we have to get these to Ron Woodson so he can print the tax bills, and it no later than September.
Okay. And did you get a final answer that on the city where they imposed their bank
Did
franchise
get an
fee?
answer.
Yeah, I can't
Martin.
find anything in the statute that says there's an offset. Both entities can impose a 0.2025% franchise, bank franchise.
Okay.
So the city will not, what the city
Will not
passed.
affect us.
It will not, it should not affect us,
There was,
so.
just so for your information, there was a concern when the city passed their bank franchise fee last night. We didn't know if that was going to be an offset to the county, which that's currently a revenue stream for us, so we were concerned that it might take away revenues.
I was very concerned.
But apparently, we're safe there, so.
I can't find anything that says it would.
Good.
And I thank Martin for dealing with my panic attack this morning.
Might I add, Judge, I was talking to Tammy Wilson at the State Department this morning, and we're talking about bringing some of our bridges up to compliance and signs and stuff, and she, and as well as even my family, I guess, would just like to applaud the court. I don't think people really understand the vastness of our county and the number of miles and the amount of resources. And the services are continuing, they're improving, and they're increasing. Being the third largest geographical county in the state of Kentucky, it's absolutely mind-boggling how creative and you guys are in maintaining one of the lowest in the state of Kentucky.
Third lowest.
Third lowest in the state of Kentucky, but with the third largest county in the state of Kentucky. And I applaud you all for that.
Thank you.
We've somehow figured out how to do more with less.
I've always said and learned, if you want to be successful, get you a smart treasurer.
Okay.
All right. So are you ready then for us to move on this? Or?
Basically, you have the option of going with the compensating rate, which is, of course, at this time, no change, or going with the 4% increase. The 4% increase would require a hearing. But at this time, I can say that
My recommendation to the court would be, let's keep our taxes where they are. We're doing
taxes
quite
low.
well, and let's keep going.
we're doing well.
Motion, we keep the compensating rate.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Okay, I do have, and I apologize for it not being on the agenda, but these just came to my attention. I do have a fund transfer. It's from the fire fund to the jail fund, and the reason, and it was for $752.22. And what it is the state has deposited jail money into the fire fund account. We're trying to rectify the situation, but this has been happening for years, and I can't get it to stop.
Motion for fund transfer.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
The next item I have is a supplemental bill list, and one item on it is to write the check to the jail for the transfer you just approved. And also, it is, we have Pickin' in the Park coming up, and we have the bands. This is a budgeted item, excuse me. It is a budgeted item and a donation from donations also. So I need that approved so we can get those paid, because we will not have a court meeting before that event.
Motion for approved bill list.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And you didn't mention the date. That'll be September the 8th, right? From noon until 9. Is that the hours for Pickin' in the Park? We've got perfect weather ordered. Come on out and enjoy it, and it'll be a fun day at the park. Thank you, Jason, for all your work in organizing that.
No problem. I had a lot of help.
That's all I have. Thank you all for making my life easier.
Brings us then to our citizens' comments. We have a couple that have requested to speak to the court today. First, I've got W.T. and Maria Stevens. If you'd like to approach the court, Mr. Stevens and Ms. Stevens. And just to preface this, we, just ask that you keep your comments civil. We don't want to attack any of our court members here, and just try to be respectful of time. If you can keep it around 3 minutes or not more than 5, if you would, please.
Okay, for the ones that don't know, my name's William T. Stevens. I live on 1006 Flatwoods Road. I have with me today Mr. Ryan Thompson, a resident, Miss Maria Stevens, which is my wife, Mr. Mike Caldwell, which is another resident on Flatwoods Road. Not with me, approximately 25 total residents on Flatwoods Road, including kids. There's about 19 plus that are not with me. I've talked to several of you before. My magistrate, Mr. Mike Wilson there. I've never got to talk to him. I've talked to his wife on the phone, Mike, but today I'm going to talk to you. I've talked to Mr. Price, I've talked to Mr. Kelly. I have some things going on Flatwoods Road. We heard, and yes, we are at the end of the county. And yes, we heard about maybe getting some blacktop, etc. But in the last 20 plus years, our road has not been touched. Yes, we have some Band-Aids come out and put in the middle of the road, etc. Just right up the road, we've had 6+ miles of road blacktop that was in a lot better shape than ours. It's 2 lane. We have 1.5 lane. Too many times do I drive the bus, the school bus, still drive part-time, Pulaski, Board of Education. I just drove last week, special needs. I see all the roads all over the county. I've been all over Eubank, where Mr. Wilson's from, Science Hill, etc. Things have been promised to me throughout the years, and we won't go there. What I'm asking for today, our road is in dire need of repair. Not just the other half of it, the whole complete road. We have one curve up there that I've came around in the bus too many times. This man over here has kids. There's several kids on that road. These kids need to be safe. These little boys are just like my own. If any of you have kids, and I'm sure you do, how precious are your kids? Our road has become to the point up there in the curve, we have cones that the county put out years ago. They're already deteriorating or gone. You hit this right here and you go around, you almost lose control. I have a hole in front of my house. If you run over in it, you're going to tear the whole front end out. 911 can't even still get down our road. They came down not too long ago, the ambulance. I had to back up and find a hole for them to come through. When minutes are at stake and people's lives are at stake, you can't wait to back up into a hole to let 911 go by. Now, if people's lives are not important, and especially, okay, I'll put it to you, Mr. Wilson, if our lives are not important at the end of the county and we get nothing, why? I'm asking you why. I can never even talk to you. You will not talk to me on the phone and look and see what our problem is.
I hate to tell you, but you ain't called me on the phone, and you ain't talked to my wife on the phone. I've got a phone right here, and it's got a number. You ain't called it, and you definitely ain't talked to my wife. I don't have no house phone, so you've been talking to the wrong one somewhere.
I couldn't get you, because this is the number they give me up here.
Well, right here's my phone, and
Can I
I
have
told
it?
him in the judge's office to give it right to him. But
Can I have
on
your
your
number?
road down there, we have started on your road to try to make your road better. I've started at the lower end, where it's gravel. Coming up the hill, that's a dangerous hill that the county has spent dollars and dollars on that we're trying to eliminate. And I've got the money to get that to the top of the hill, and that's what we're doing. And then we'll follow up next year and try to get enough blacktop money to get that on out to the end of the road. That's the plan, and that's, I mean, that hill's all pieces down there, and we're trying to fix that for you.
Yes, and it's terrible. But we don't live on down there, and the residents...
But you need to have your thing straight before you go telling me that you've talked to my wife and you've done all this. You need to know what you're talking about before you go run that job.
She told me, your wife told my wife.
You ain't talked to my wife, period. I don't have no house phone for you to talk to my wife, and you sure ain't got her cell phone number. And she ain't had this one.
You've been in office for a long time. We have talked to your wife.
You ain't talked to my wife.
Let me let me just say something here. We are out on that road on a regular basis. I was there last week. When I got a complaint from Mr. Thompson about potholes, we went out there and we patched some potholes. Apparently it wasn't enough. I don't know if the pothole in front of your house, you got,
They patch one, they skip one, patch one, skip one, patch one. We got grass growing up in the middle of the
So-
road. I mean, it's pathetic.
but we do get out there on a regular basis, and I will agree, we have spent a lot of money on that road. It's just not in front of your homes.
Are you
We
aware,
have
are
spent
you
it on
aware
the
of the
backside.
are you aware of the traffic right now on the
And I
road?
will say this, Mr. Stevens, I have not got one call from our emergency services saying they're having trouble going down that road. Matter of fact, I had one of them say, we don't have any problem. I've not
Good.
had anybody from the emergency services complain to me about that. Now, we are working on that road because we know it's dangerous. But
Are you aware
when my
that-
professional, my department heads will call me and say, I need you to fix this, we're going to respond to our department heads, and we've not got that call yet.
Are you
So,
aware of the logging that's going on that road right now?
I am.
We have 900 acres over there, and they've been running day and night. All, especially last week, they run out of there with approximately 8 loads a day going to Monticello. The trucking service, and I will not say their name, but they're not even licensed for KYU, and they're hauling way overweight. Back in the winter, they completely destroyed the stretch of road up between me and Mr. Caldwell back there. And they're still running as of today. They're tearing the road all to pieces.
You need to contact MVE then.
I don't have. We contacted them last year,
That's
to
who
no avail.
enforces that.
But
To
now,
no
when
avail.
you come to the court and say that we don't respect life and we don't care about life in our county, that's just wrong, and I'm gonna take issue.
Well,
with
see,
that.
I feel
We are
that-
doing
yeah.
doing what we can to make that road
I
safe.
feel different, because when I go out and I almost wreck myself, look, yes, I ride a motorcycle. And I can't hardly ride my motorcycle because of the things that's left in the road, and if I hit them, I'm going down, so I just park it. And then
Learn how to
now,
ride better.
do what?
I said, I'd learn how to ride my motorcycle better.
Let's,
So I'm just, this is what I want to say.
listen, you threatened to sue the court last year, you didn't go through with it. If that's what your answer is, you go through with it, but you keep coming and saying you're gonna do these things, and you keep fussing, and we're working out there, and we're doing work on that road. It
We
just,
just don't
it
see
doesn't
it.
suit you.
We just don't see it. We just don't see it. So is anything, do you have any kind of timeline about what's going to happen to our road?
Before November, the back half of that road will be blacktopped.
And so nothing's done to the rest of the road?
Well, we came out there last week and we patched some potholes. I'll send my road department out and we'll patch some more potholes.
And I don't mean to have this kind of attitude, but it's just, I've been told this and this and this, and about the ditch work down below my house. I was told I would have a backhoe, dump truck, just a couple hours, and then I was told, well, it don't need it. It would do no good. And then I was told it would be there. It never showed up. I was told it would be there Monday. It never showed up, and I'm still having the same problem that I had before. I even rerouted my whole parking lot there to let the water over.
I just, I,
How can I have a different attitude when I
Not
have been
ignoring that
told
road.
one thing, huh?
we have not ignored that road. It's
He's
just,
not, we had a man come out there to do work for you, and you come out there and you was gonna tell him how he was gonna do it, right, Jordan? You was gonna operate the thing, you didn't think our men knowed enough to handle it, so that's what happened there. And the bottom line is of the thing, you bought that thing in a swamp when you bought it. It's not really the county's problem to start with. We was being good enough to try to help you, but it was your problem to start with, right?
So I'm less of a person because my home is down in the lower scale. I am less.
You're
I am
not no less
than a
than us,
person.
and anybody can buy anything wherever they want to, but you chose to buy that place. It wasn't the county's problem, but we chose to try to help you. But
And
you
so-
come in there
and
and
so
you gonna
with
tell them what
years-
to do.
with years
We got
of-
guys that knows what
Yes.
they're doing. We don't have to have you to tell them what to do.
With years of the grader grading and filling up the ditches, that doesn't matter. All I'm asking for is to clean the ditches out.
When we send our man out there to do the work there and take care of it, you should have let him done what he knows to do.
Can you send me a dump truck and get the ditches cleaned out there for me?
We sent one out there. Yeah, we can send a man out there to do stuff for you, but you're going to have to stay over out of the way.
All
You're
I
not
want
going
is,
to tell him
all I
what
want
to
is
do.
the ditches cleaned out. Can you do that?
We can do
Mr.
that.
Stevens?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yes,
But
sir.
I'll say this now,
Yes, sir.
and I said that then. We are well aware of what the situation is. And our court does the best they can with what they have to provide services throughout this county, period. look at social media, Facebook, and see all the negative.
Yes.
And all this has turned into is a quarrel here, and it's not
Yes, it
how
has.
things
Yes, it
occur.
has.
If you allow.
And I apologize to the court for this, but like I
If you
say, it's
allow
just,
our
over the
people-
years,
Mr.
it's just not
Stevens?
worked out.
If you allow our people to do their work, I promise you, you'll be satisfied. I put faith in them. I promise you.
I don't need more promises, Mr. President.
Okay? But I'm glad, always a
Thank you,
pleasure to hear
thank you, everybody.
Thank you. And I don't see Mr. Estill here this morning, is it? Not with us? All right, no further business. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
How about a picture with the animal control truck? How about that?
Yeah, that's right.